5 through 42. And just as John the Baptist introduced Jesus to the nation of Israel, so Andrew is noted for having introduced individuals to Jesus. You see, which is more important in this grand scheme of things, that we go out there and do Billy Graham-sized crusades, or Louis Palau when Louis Palau were here? When I was down in Burley, we had John Wesley White, part of the Billy Graham crusade, do a crusade there. Is that the most significant thing in the body of Christ, to reach people, or is really the one-on-one sharing with the people that get missed, that kind of get glossed over? See, both significant. It's how is God leading you? Is he leading you, and are you allowing him to lead you? When you look at Andrew, one of the things that you have to find is he was allowing Jesus to lead his life. I mean, he didn't know Jesus very long. Don't miss that. Because we see that, boy, him and John spent the evening with Jesus. And then what did he do next? He invited his brother. It wasn't a whole lot of time. The Apostle Peter became a fisher of men to the masses, in part because his brother shared with him about Christ. But Andrew became the fisher of men to the individuals, to the small groups of people. Almost every time you see Andrew in the gospel, he is bringing somebody to Jesus. Almost every time. Andrew couldn't preach to the masses, and he didn't lead like Peter, but he did the work that the Lord had given him to do. And that's the significant thing that we have to see. What has the Lord given you to do? Man, wherever you're at. A number of guys have struggled. Well, man, I want to be in the ministry. I want to get full-time in the ministry. But God has not led that way. He's put them at Micron or at other places. Guess what? You become the chaplain to where you're at. Are you in the hospital working? Become a chaplain to the people. Well, man, I don't have a thing that says chaplain. You don't have to have a bunch of signs and badges to do the work of Christ. In fact, it's probably better that you don't have them. I met a guy the other day, and he said, man, you don't look like a pastor. You know what I said? Thank you. Thank you. I said, there's people that come to church on Sundays only, and they see me wear a suit. And I do wear a suit. And when I became a Christian, I had heard about giving God your best, and I thought, well, that makes sense. And when I stopped wearing a suit for a while, my daughter said to me, who sat right there, Dad, boy, I really like it when you wear a suit. I just think it's very honoring to God. I haven't taken my suit off since. Touched me. Man, through the mouths of babes sometimes God speaks. And he might not speak to you that way, but he did to me. So I said, there's people that come to church only on Sunday, and I think they think that all I wear is a suit. Oh, the pastor's coming to visit, going to have his suit on and his tie. No, if I come to visit, I'm going to have my jeans on, and maybe in the summer I'll have my shorts and my flip-flops. So when this guy said that, he said, that's kind of uncommon. I thought, well, I don't want to be common, but I want to be what God wants me to be. I want to reach people where they're at. That's the Andrew that we see. In his book on Leadership That Works, Pastor Leif Anderson writes about an evangelistic strategy of a woman named Kathy. Now listen to this. It's an incredible strategy. I like it. She was a successful stockbroker in Minneapolis who easily made friends and had the gift of evangelism. She used to go to the pool at her apartment complex, settle in on a chaise lounge, and read a book, and eventually strike up a conversation with whoever sat next to her. Now notice, she wasn't necessarily reading her Bible. She was reading a book. Soon the two would become friends, and Kathy would begin. Now you get the picture here? She began. It's not that that's where she started. She began to talk about her Christian life. Bringing newcomers to church was regular practice. She was so good at this that she was invited to serve on the church evangelism board. When Kathy asked me what I thought of the idea, I said it was ridiculous. I like this pastor. It was ridiculous. Why would we put somebody who is good at evangelism in a room for hours with people who are already Christians. Let someone else serve on the evangelism board while you sit at the pool and lead individuals to Christ. Where are you at? A stay-at-home mom that has a little boy says, I'm confused. Man, talk about an open door. You know, to care. That's all you're asked to do is to care. Somebody that Jason worked with asked, do you know anybody that can, I have a friend needs some counseling. He said, well, maybe have them call Pastor Chris. And that person called me up, and so I'm seeing somebody else that's a friend of a friend that's not involved in church. Care about individuals. That was Andrew's call. He cared about the individuals that were out there. Look at John 12, 20 through 22. It will also be up on the wall here. Now there were some Greeks. Boy, some Greeks. They're not Jewish people. They're outsiders. There were some Greeks among those who went up to worship at the feast. And they came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida in Galilee, with a request. Sir, they said, we would like to see Jesus. What did Philip do? He took him right to Jesus. I think this is interesting because you don't hear a lot about Andrew. It says Philip went to tell Andrew. It seemed that Andrew was the bellhop. He was kind of like the host, you know. He just kind of introduced people. That we might say, you know what, being an usher? Man, there's no glory in being an usher. Man, give me something that there's glory into, something that people will notice me. You see, it wasn't Andrew. Philip takes them to Andrew, and then Andrew and Philip, in turn, told Jesus. Molded by the Master, Andrew had a talent for seeing needs and had a talent for bringing people to Jesus. To become a fisher of men requires three things: seeking, speaking, and shepherding. And today we're going to consider seeking. And then next week we'll look at the others. Roman numeral number 1 in your outline is seeking. He found first his own brother, Simon. A on that outline. There's an urgency that's required in seeking. And if we don't sense that urgency, we're probably going to miss a lot of opportunities. At this time in Andrew's life, he didn't know all there was to know about Jesus. How long had he spent with him? An evening. That's it. Man, I mean, he didn't go to, discipleship classes for 5 years. And I've learned evangelism explosion, CWT, continuous witnessing training, sharing Jesus without fear, friendship evangelism. Oh, and I first learned evangelism explosion. I think I need 2 more, David, before I'm ready to go. That's not what Andrew had. He didn't go through any of those things. He had a few hours with Jesus in the evening, but he had this sense of urgency. He knew he had to give to Peter what he had learned. And there are 2 things which motivated that urgency. 1, the joy of discovery. And think about that. Do you still have the joy of discovering Jesus? Is there joy in your life because you met him? It's really neat when new people come to Christ and little kids. And they just want to tell everybody about Jesus. They go to the store. Do you know Jesus? They think about their friends. Can I tell them about Jesus? New person, an older person becomes a Christian. Boy, if they're really on fire in that instant, boy, they want to tell their friends. We kind of get to be Christians for a while, and we kind of get a little sedate, and we find difficulty in that. He had that joy of discovery. Andrew had grown up with the expectation for the Messiah coming, and he knew that his brother needed that information also. I mean, they were close. They probably shared a lot of what they were looking for. Adam Clark wrote, every discovery of the gospel of the Son of God produces benevolence, a caring, a wanting to give to other people. And it leads those to whom it is made to communicate it to others. Those who find Jesus find in him a treasure of wisdom and knowledge through which they may not only become rich themselves, but be instruments in the hand of God, enriching others. Enriching others, man. An instrument. Think about that. You, if you're a believer here today, if you've asked Jesus Christ into your life, you're an instrument in the almighty hand of God. An instrument to touch the lives of others, where they're at individually as he touches us individually. How are you doing? How are you doing at enriching the lives of others? When you hear about a need, do you try to meet it? Do you try to be available? And sometimes the greatest thing is just to be available. To be a safe place. When you're a safe place, you gain the opportunity to share. And I like those little signs in windows. Safe home. Man, that means for kids after school, boy, if somebody's scaring you and there's a sign in the window that says safe home, that's the place to head to. Or to be a friend of your children's friends that they know, hey, you're a safe place. I can go there and I can say I'm hurting, I'm confused. I could say I'm worried about what's happening at home. Those who find Jesus find a treasure. And he's given us that treasure to share. The good news was too good for Andrew to keep to himself. So he went and he found the person in the world that he loved, the person that he wanted to share with, the person he really cared for. And he just wanted him to know Jesus. And so he goes and he led him to Christ. And we have to ask ourselves, do we love our friends? Do we love our relatives? Do we love our coworkers? Maybe you take the Kathy approach and you just kind of hang out. You share a little bit here and there about what life's going on, and you're just available. I've shared with you a number of times that when I was in the Air Force, I watched people go through this mechanical motion saying, yo, Rick, how's it going? Fine, cool. And you ever watch people? They do that. They don't stop and really talk. How you doing? Hey, yo, John, good to see you, man. Catch you later. Okay. And going in the military base, going to where I work, that's how it was every day. Military, you walk in on the right, you walk out on the left. Man, oh man, I still walk in on the right, out on the left. I walk up the right side of the stairs, come down the left. That's the way it was. And the guys are going out, and I'm coming in. Nothing. And so I thought, man, I got to check out if people really listen. And so somebody said to me, hey, Chris, how's it going? Man, bad news. Doctor told me I had cancer. Got 6 months. Yo, dude, cool. See you later, man. Hey, we're going to have a party. You want to come? Yeah, man, my death party. And the people just kind of kept going. And so I did that for several days, and nobody ever stopped. So, whoa, are you serious? Did they think I was kidding? I don't think so. So I told my roommate, Ray Vandervoort. I said, Ray, man, you don't believe this. People are just mechanicons, man. They just walk and nobody says anything. You tell them you're bad, and do we really care? And he said, oh, man, that's your kid. No, that don't happen. So Ray did it. And he was totally amazed because he got the same response. Maybe if we just listen. Just listen. We are so busy rushing around, doing this, doing that. Boy, the phone rings, and, man, I've been on the phone 4 times already in the past 10 minutes. I don't want to be on the phone. And we don't want to do it. We don't want to pick it up. I've had enough of people. I got to get away. I need a break. And in that moment, some little kid comes up and is, I'm lost, or I'm hurting. Or a friend comes and says, oh, man, I just found out my mom or my dad died. Or a best friend died. Yeah, and we just kind of go through life and we miss them. Andrew was the kind of guy that listened. He listened to those individual needs, and he had the joy of Jesus, and he began to enrich lives. Lottie Moon, where our Christmas offering goes, wrote, because of what we have found in Jesus, there is joy in leading others to him. I would have to take objection to Lottie Moon. I think she should have wrote, because of what I have found in Jesus, there's a joy in leading others to him. Because she made it as if all Christians felt this way, and you know what? I don't think all Christians feel this way. And then she wrote, surely there can be no deeper joy than the saving of souls. Have you experienced that joy? Many people find joy in lots of things.